Right, hello, welcome back to my cat bracket instruction video. If you've been following the videos for a while, you'll know that the last time I left off I had the lettering to finish, which I've now done. I haven't done it very well because I hate doing lettering anyway, but I suppose it'd be acceptable when it's sanded off. I've done all the cutting. I've just left these little bridge pieces here. There's one there and one over there with you can see the pins through. This is holding the two pieces together. I've left those two pieces. All I've got to do then is just cut that line, the same the other side, and then the whole thing will fall apart. And it'll be in two pieces, and we shall see what the back piece looks like before the front's sanded off. You'll notice there's a little slot here. This is for the little shelf that's going to go across. I haven't cut that out. There's a reason for that. That is... The size of that socket depends on the thickness of the wood, and I've used my own thicknesses, and also the back piece is much thinner than the front piece. So what I should do, if I want a socket there, when I finish the items, I shall cut the individual sockets out. The front one will be wider than the back one, because the back one's thin sort of plywood and the front is sort of 3/8 of an inch thick mahogany, so it'll be a different size according to which one I use. This socket is for the little support, which is this. I haven't cut out yet. There's this little design here, which is a little angle piece which goes in there to support the shelf. Again, I shall cut that out afterwards. I've also got this little mouse. I probably showed you before. I haven't cut him out yet. It's not part of the original pattern. It's something I thought would perhaps look nice on it. I'm going to try and cut him out. He's very tiny, so it's not going to be easy. And I'm going to put him on the pattern after I finished it. It's in a bit of, well, that's a bit of beech by the looks of things. And the back piece, I've got another piece on the back, which is maple. Like you'll see, I've stuck sellotape two together, so I should cut two out for the price of one for each bracket. That bit's beech, and the other bit, I think it's a bit of maple or something like that. So that's that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut these two pieces out, and then we'll see what the thing looks like. Well, I've got the sellotape to cut off, but let's have a go anyway and see. Probably make a mistake now, just as I nearly finished the thing. There's that bit. Now I've got to turn around and do the other bit. It's never really a good idea starting in the middle of a cut like this. It's better to do it in one sweeping piece, but it's better to leave a piece to hold the two together, I think. Normally I wouldn't do this. Right, that's that piece done. Stop the saw a minute. I'm going to change the blade over. What you don't want to do now is make a mistake, because if you spent hours and hours cutting a pattern out and then you go and spoil it just in the last minute, you're not going to be very happy, are you? The tension right. Off we go. Oh, my hands are in the way again. Not used to this videoing. It's bad enough doing the work without having to film it at the same time and listen to yourself drolling on and on. I'm trying to sort of give a bit of advice in case it helps people. There we are, that's the last cut, I hope. I'll just take the blade out. Last little piece. There we go. I'll just zoom the camera out a bit wider, you can see it better. Oh, there's not much left there. What I'm going to do now, I'll pop the camera off, and then I'll get this sellotape and stuff off, and then take it apart and you can see what it looks like. Right, well that's that then. We've done all the cutting, and now I can reveal what the thing looks like. I'm going to peel it apart. There's just a little bit of sellotape holding it together in that corner. Now that's the backing piece. It's not too bad, I suppose. It'll want sanding down a little bit, cleaning up. If you look on the back, you'll notice, I know you can't see very clearly, there's a bit of kerf on the back where the saw is broken out. This is the advantage of having a backing piece. The initial one, the one on the top, will be fine. So that's the backing piece, which is perfectly usable. I shan't waste that. I'll make that into another bracket, albeit a thinner one, with a little shelf and things. I think that's not too bad. This is the the main piece. Now that's before it's sanded, that's just got all the paper stuck on. I've got to get obviously got to get all that off and clean it up, but I can show you what it's going to look like basically on the back. It's not too bad. I mean, the lettering's back to front obviously because I got it looking through the back, but you can see the cutting's not too bad. There's no breakout on the back of the saw. Not too bad. I mean, it's not perfect, but considering I've had to spend time filming it as well, it's better than I expected. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'll get it on the sander and clean some of the paper and rubbish off, and we'll have a look at it in a minute. Okay, well, I've got the pattern off now, and I'll tell you what, that was a job. It was worse than the actual cutting. I found it very difficult getting the pattern off, mainly because I stuck sellotape over it, and what I did, I used a paintbrush with a drop of water and just sprinkled it over the paper, and then just scraped it off. But where the sellotape was on, of course, the water didn't soak through the paper, so it was more difficult. Now, I've got most of it off now. What I generally do, if the piece isn't too delicate, I'll just put it on the belt sander. I've got a static belt sander, and I run it over that, and that gets most of the paper, the sellotape, everything off in one foul sweep. But unfortunately, if it's a delicate pattern, like for example on this one, this cat's leg is a bit, you know, precarious here and here. And I don't want them to snap off. They'll snap off easy enough if I'm not careful. So what I generally do with a more delicate piece, I get a piece of glass paper or whatever you want to call it these days, and then I place flat, and then I place the piece on that, which sort of stops it moving about, and then I just get an ordinary sanding block and just gently go over it like this as best I can. Usually, if you're very careful, you won't break anything. You can roughly see what it's going to look like now. I'll just take the sandpaper off, and you can see it shows up a bit better with the light wood background. I might actually put a background on it later on. I might cut one out either from plywood or card or something, but it's not too bad, I suppose. It's not finished yet because I've got the shelf to do and the little mouse, but I mean, you could actually finish off there if you wanted and stick that on the hang it on the wall, job done. But I always like to embellish them a bit, so that's that. That's the main copy, the mahogany one. If you look at the edges, I don't know if you can see, the cameras probably won't focus on it, but they're fairly smooth. That's the advantage of using a reverse tooth scroll saw blade, because it does leave the edges practically perfect. You don't even need any sanding on that. There's a little bit of curve showing on there, but even on the back it's not too bad at all. So I think that's quite acceptable. I'm quite pleased with that. I'll just show you what the other one looks like. The backing piece, which is much thinner. That's not too bad. It's perfectly usable. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, some people would prefer perhaps the colour of it. I'll just stick a bit of card behind, and you can see it brings it out. I mean, that's not too bad at all. It doesn't have to be that particular colour. That's just a piece I've got to hand, but you could easily make a nice little backing, cut it out roughly to the shape of the outline, or you could make sometimes I'll make like a shield design or something around, cut that round and put that on top of there. I've got the little shelf to do yet, and the bracket and the little mouse, but it's not too bad. So what I'll do now, I think I'll go and have a cup of tea actually. I think I've earned it, and then I'll come back later on when I've cut the shelf out and that, and we can see the finished thing.